There are many different ways people are motivated to become successful, to be happy, to be fulfilled. And one of the things that you hear about a lot, one of the stories, and they're all kind of the same. And when I'm generalizing when I'm speaking here, but one of the most popular choices, motivation for becoming happy, successful, fulfilled, is to prove someone wrong. To prove someone wrong. You might have had a coach, a teacher, a parent, a spouse, a friend. Probably not a friend, but there could be any number of people in your life that you could potentially looked up to that did not reciprocate the feelings and might have said to you, I don't believe in you, you'll never make it, you'll never be a success, you'll never be happy, you'll never do this or that and the other, you'll never be a somebody, basically. So it all boils down to. And it upset you. It created low self-esteem, maybe lower than what was already before. It really knocked you off your pins. A lot of times it makes people feel depressed for years, and then something clicks and they say, I'm going to prove them wrong. And hey, listen, sometimes that's what it takes to get you out of your slump. But what I want to impress upon you today is that you need to learn to let that go. And you need to learn to no longer allow that to be a motivating force in your life. Because here's what we envision, and we all have stories like that, right? I mean, this is something that we can all relate to. I've had teachers growing up. I didn't do very well in school. I moved around a lot, and I was always behind when I moved, and I just couldn't ever catch up. I had a hard time paying attention in class. I just couldn't catch on to certain concepts and ideas, and I may have overthought things too hard and wanted too many answers, and I couldn't move on until I got those. And so I didn't do well. I didn't do very well in school. I failed 7th grade. I ended up dropping out of high school, getting my GED later. But I was not a good student. And I had teachers tell me that I'll never be successful, that I'll never be anybody. I've literally had that told to me before, and you may have too. And it does drive you. It does compel you to move forward with ambition that cannot be quenched, that cannot be satiated. And that's okay to get you out of that slump, but there comes a point you need to let that go, because what you have in your mind really is a finish line. You have a goal, you have an objective, and you want to get from here to there, and what you want to see on the other end of the finish line is these people who told you you'd be nothing. These people who told you you wouldn't be successful. You want to see them there saying, I'm sorry, I was wrong, you were right, I'm so happy for you, you did make something of yourself, I've changed the way I think. And let me tell you something, brother. That's never going to happen. That's never going to happen, and you need to let that go, because it's a fantasy. It's not realistic, and it probably never happens. I mean, the cases are probably so rare in which those events unfold in that way that they're hardly worth mentioning. You have to learn to let that go, because it's a fantasy. And when you glom onto that and you let that be your driving ambition, you are allowing yourself to be enslaved to that person and that fantasy. These people that you're thinking about, they don't care. They don't really care if you become successful or happy or fulfilled. And at the time that they said those things, they were just saying them. And even if their thinking has changed in the years that have passed, they may not even remember you. And if they do and they see that you're successful, they may not click in their minds. And they're not going to be like, well, I really underestimated them. It's not going to happen. You're going to be so disappointed, monumentally disappointed. And it'll create further unhappiness. And then you'll no longer be able to use that kind of a story as a driving ambition in your life, a motivational force in your life with which to work. And then what are you working with? You'll probably become bitter and resentful. And you're going to go, yeah, well, that sucked. They didn't appreciate it anyway. And I've seen people who seem like they had a lot going for them. They overcame the odds only to fall back into a slump and then just become nothing. They're unhappy. They're unfulfilled. They're not successful by any measure. And that's what happens when you hold on to a fantasy and you don't let it go because your premise was wrong. These people that we're thinking about, they're too proud to really care about whether you became something or somebody. They're too proud for that. They don't care. They don't remember. They may not even know your name anymore. And here's what you need to focus on. You need to focus on being happy for the sake of being happy. You need to focus on being good for the sake of being good. You need to do it for you. You can be successful, you can be fulfilled without needing to prove anybody else wrong. You know, there's many examples of people who have tried to prove, and I'm thinking of them right now. It wouldn't do any good to mention names because you wouldn't know who I'm talking about, but there are people who have had parents that didn't believe in them, teachers, coaches, like I said. That did go back years later, high school reunions, family gatherings, whatever the case might be. And they found out that these people never changed. And it shocked them. It shocked them. And it was a waste of time. It was a waste of years. It was a waste of energy. It was a waste. Don't allow yourself to be enslaved to a fantasy or to an individual who never really cared about you to begin with and probably never will for many reasons. Learn to let it go. Do it for you. Do it because it's the right thing. Do it because it will make you a better person. You'll be happier, you'll be more fulfilled, and you'll be doing it for all the right reasons. I hope that meant something to you. I hope it helped. And I know for a fact that this is something that many of you listening to can relate to. All right, guys, I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.